What's up? This is Brandon London, and you're listening to the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. You hear that? The Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. Let's go, Giants.
Edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. This week we're 100% British, but absolutely still 100% Giants. Kev's living his best life in Toronto, but producer Craig's back from his hollybobs to resume normal service and join me and Shane to break down our draft class of 2023. Lads, what a weekend. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, thanks. I'm pretty happy, to be fair. Like, I've got no pressure this week, so I can just sit here and, unfortunately for everyone else, just talk a load of shit because I ain't got to worry about producing and doing these little graphics and worrying, is the stream up and working all right? Is anything happening on Twitter? So, it was a great week. Good to have Craig back though this week. Not something I'm looking forward to doing again if he's off anytime soon. So remember to fill your RV form in for any future ones, please, Craig.
Yeah, I'll
Absolutely.
make sure that the 3-week break that I decide to have next time is with you lot and not not by myself. But I think you did a good enough job. It's just good to know that I was missed.
Absolutely, mate. You were missed, but Shane did a stellar job filling in for you. And the sneaky little bonus episode that Shane and Kev put out there was a good watch as well. So well done to you, mate, for that. It was really good. But I've been looking forward to this since waking up early on Friday morning to discover that Trader Joe has worked his magic in round one, and there's more of that to come shortly. But yeah, it's been a good weekend. All things considered, we can't really complain, really, can we? We're going to go into obviously the first round of the draft and the rest of the draft very soon. And yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good weekend all in all, I think, and it was very positive. And there's a lot of good things come out of the weekend just gone, and we're going to talk about all that in a minute. I just want to say good evening to those watching or listening live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Send in your questions and your thoughts about our draft class of 2023. And we will read them out live on this evening. So get them in to us, and we will give them a read out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Big Blue UK and Ireland, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Before we get into the draft, though, we have got a couple of little news articles. 2 players are confirmed to be returning with the team into 2023 and beyond. The team decided to exercise the 5th-year option on Andrew Thomas. They've been picked up in the biggest no-brainer of the off-season so far. Second team All-Pro tackle, started all but one game in his 3 years as a Giant, and having not missed a single game through injury, Joe Shane was quick to tie him up through the 2024 season. And we also re-signed outside linebacker O'Shane Zimenez to a 1-year deal, according to various reports. Originally a 3rd-round, 95th overall pick in 2019, the 4-year vet has started 9 of 45 games he's appeared in across the 4 seasons with the team, and he adds depth to the only key position the team didn't really strengthen during the draft last week. Again, more on that to come. But what do you both reckon of Andrew Thomas and X being back with the team in 2023?
Yeah, just three words spring to mind for me. Bloody Dave Gettleman.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know some people listening to this thinking, oh, for God's sakes. Nah, but yeah, like you say, it was an
Even
no-brainer.
Andy.
He's a no-brainer for Andrew Thomas. His contract's going to get done. A little bit like Sexy Dexy. It's a matter of kind of when, not if. It's been great seeing him develop the way that he has over these last couple of years. And then with O'Shane Zimenez, it's just a depth piece. Like you say, we haven't got much depth there, really. Someone who kind of will already be aware of the system as well, and having been there for the last year and that. So it's a it's a player that the coaching staff know, but it's also a player that the coaches, the player knows as well. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm more than happy with the AT one, and I'm fine with the Jimenez one.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas was a no-brainer. It's just when you're essentially the best player on the field last season, you have all pro honours and should have gone to the Pro Bowl. You're always going to pick that up, especially seeing as it's a freebie, isn't it? Really, you get the opportunity to extend it for that additional year, gives you a little bit of breathing space to get the contract done as well. Jimenez is it had to be addressed after we didn't go for an edge rusher in the draft, and as Shane said, it's familiarity, isn't it? It's the ability to have somebody who knows the playbook and knows exactly what the coaches want and can just get on with it without us having to go out and try and search that free agency market to get somebody who potentially there's not really going to be anyone better out there now. Maybe after cut day, but even then you're only going to have a week between or 2 weeks between the end of the off season and the beginning of the regular season. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think obviously adding Okereke in there has shored things up a bit and given us a bit of, that sort of number one sort of linebacker piece in there. Adding X back into the mix is, like Shane said, he's familiar with the coaches are familiar with him, and he's familiar with the team as well. So it kind of made sense, really. Obviously, as we go through the off season, there's chances are that things can change, and he might find himself off the team come cut day, come the 53 final roster being announced. So who knows with him? But Andrew Thomas, the fact that we locked him up to his 5th-year option after year 3 says, oh, really? Done. Sign him up. He's now on the team through the next 2 seasons. So best left tackle in the league, locked up, happy days. And let's hope the rest of the offensive line can follow suit as well. Anyway, moving on to the main event. Then on this past weekend saw the team's second college draft under GM Joe Shane and Coach Dabes. And really, it failed to disappoint, didn't it? With some analysts grading our class of 2023 really sort of in the top 5, if not number 1 overall. Shane and Dave have yet again proven that they have an eye for talent, and they've addressed most of the biggest positions in need as well. So Thursday night, round 1, pick 25. Which position would we go? Well, not at 25, that's for sure. We've got 24, 1 above. So Joe Shane and the Giants kicked off the draft in the first round by trading up 1 place with the Jags to take Deontay Banks, cornerback out of Maryland at pick number 24. In the picks that ran before that, 4 receivers went in a row. And I think maybe their hand was forced a little bit. But they got the man they were looking for. They got a solid lockdown corner they were looking for. And they were quietly confident that one of the sort of first round graded players would fall to them. And he did do. Deontay Banks, solid corner, fell to us at 24, made the move. He's received a lot of criticism for that move, moving up 1 pick and giving up what we did. I mean, what was it, 160 and 240 we gave up to the Jags to get Banks. But, other teams were interested in jumping up as well. So we've made the move, we paid the price. And to be fair, it's not a bad price to pay for someone that's as highly scouted and as highly ranked as him. Craig, what do we need to know about Deontay Banks? You are on mute, young man.
I am on mute. As you can tell, I'm still jet lagged and not really with it at all. Right, so physicals, 22 years old, born 3rd of March 2001. So one of the younger players, I think, in the draft. I read a stat the other day that said that the majority of our picks were 22 and under last year, and we didn't really have that. What do you call it? The luxury of having that this year because we had so many players coming out of the COVID year. So definitely an older draft class this year. But Yeah, 6 foot, 197 pounds. He was a 3-star prospect coming into college football. Joined Maryland in 2019. Combine stats: 40-yard dash, ran a 4.35, which was third amongst cornerbacks. Vert jump 42 inches, which was the highest among cornerbacks. Broad jump was 11 feet 4, which was second, and he opted out of all the other drills, so we can't give anything there. His 2022 season, 680 snaps across 12 games, only allowed 26 receptions on 60 targets for 258 yards and 4 touchdowns. He recorded 38 tackles, 25 of which were solo. Had 8 pass breakups, 1 interception, and a half sack. Quarterbacks rated a 71.4 when they targeted him, and he received a 74.3 coverage grade, a 57.7 run defense grade, and an overall 72 grade on the season.
Winner. So, how did you guys feel about Shane trading up to 1 pick to grab him? Just out of curiosity.
I'll let Shane start with this because I know he had a lot to say on draft night about it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of, in a way, I do get what people are saying, but at the same time, like, why sit there and then lose the guy that you want when we've been part of that in my time as a fan, and also from what I've sort of gathered over the years before I was a fan, happened previously as well. You know, Devontae Smith, we wanted from Bama in 2020 draft, I think it was the year we took him. And yeah, so we missed out on him then. Yeah, I'm not saying his name. And then I believe, is it Leonard Floyd we missed out on a few years ago? And was it an offensive tackle as well? Maybe someone like Jack Conklin, I think, maybe. So why sit there and just sort of, let's just hope falls to us? I mean, what I will say is the fact that that traded, I had Joey Porter Jr. as over Banks, and Joey Porter Jr. would have been my pick, not because he's Penn State, but I just had him ranked a little bit higher. But the fact that the fact that it was Jags, then Giants, they must have had a big gap there for them to say, we need to go and get him, rather than just saying, kind of like they did last year with the offensive tackles, we'll just take the one that falls to us. That didn't happen this year, so they must have had him rated a lot higher on there. But I will say as well, I don't think they wanted to go cornerback first round. I firmly believe they wanted wide receiver, because if you look at Joe Shane's comments after the draft on night 1, he said, our board got depleted. The wide receivers went off the board and we were running out of talent. Well, why would you say all that if you were planning on going cornerback all along? So I think they were hoping one of those wide receivers fell to them. I think it was a surprise the Vikings took one, in all honesty, when you consider how poor their pass defense was last year. But, you know, I'm fine with him. You know, he went, that's our guy. He's obviously ranked a lot higher than what Joey Porter Jr. is. Outside of those two, unless you were going to go for an edge or something like a Nolan Smith, there wasn't really anything else worth taking. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then,
if you look at the reports that were coming out after the draft or after day 1, it looks like a lot of other teams were quite interested in trading up for that pick as well. And we haven't, you know, we can talk all we want, but we have no idea who they were going to take. So the fact that Banks was the only player left that we had in that first round grading, I think you just have to take the risk. I know a lot of people were upset because it wasn't, you know, the Eagles moved up earlier. Is it the Eagles who moved up earlier? Yeah. And they gave up a lot less than we did, and they were much higher in the draft. Obviously, there was a lot more left on the board, but I think what you've got to take in mind is that if the other teams were also talking to the Jags at that point, there's either going to be a bidding war that would have ensued that we've got to win, and lo and behold, we did because of what we were offering, or you just go in straight away and you say, look, this is what we're going to offer. We don't want anyone else coming above this. Let's do this deal right now. And that's exactly what Shane did. And at the end of the day, if it turns out that Banks becomes he will be our number 2 corner going forward and will likely take over number 1 once Adori goes. If that's the case, why not move up? I mean, he gave up correct me if I'm wrong, a 5th and a 7th. I mean, are you going to find an elite day 1 starter in the 5th or 7th round? No, you're not. So you make the move to pick up the player that you have highest graded. And that's what we did. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think like the fact that the 4 picks before 20 through 23, like you said, Shane, that their board was depleted. In Joe Shane's words, 4 receivers going those 4 picks. It's kind of like they felt like they had to make a move to snag the player they wanted. And the fact that they traded with Jacksonville to move up a pick, and then Jacksonville then go and trade the number 25 pick to Buffalo and move back again to 29, was it? They moved back to, or 20? No, 27, wasn't it? And then they take a tackle at 27. So really, were they looking at Banks? Probably not. But they made the move. They did what they did, and at the end of the day, we've got a solid, like you said, Craig, solid day 1 starter at CB2, and we can't really complain with the pick. It's just a shame that we had to give up 2 later round picks to get him, but I think it was worth it, and I think the value's there, and I think again, Shane and Dave, they know what they're doing, and I trust them, fully trust them. Not that I didn't necessarily not trust Dave Gettleman, because some of his picks have come good, as we already said earlier, but it just seems to be a lot smarter and a lot, there's a lot of thought gone into it. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction. They probably would have played through these scenarios multiple times. I mean, you saw their draft room, you saw the war room on Giants Live last week, and it was just like you said, Shane, how much would you give to be in that room on draft night? It's just unbelievable, that room they got set up. And they've clearly done the homework. They probably run through every possible scenario, and they got the man they wanted. Was it the top man they wanted? Probably not. They probably, like you said, in all likelihood, they're probably going to go for a receiver. But they got one of the best corners in the first round, and let's hope he comes into the team and proves why we picked him number 24 overall. Anyway, Shane. Give us some more about Deonte Banks. Tell us some more about him. What was he like as a player? What type of player we get him?
Yeah, so I think I can't remember if I said it on here or not, but I said at the time a few weeks ago that for me there was 3 players that were like an ideal fit for what Wink likes to do and what the Giants want to do on defense. Forbes was one of them. Banks was one of them. I think I might have said Witherspoon, but I'm not too sure on that third one. So, he's a player who fits what they want to do. As Craig says, he was a 4-year starter at Maryland. He missed 2021 due to a shoulder injury, but he bounced back big time last year, not just coming back from the injury, but like how he played on field. If anyone sort of wants to watch any tape, go and watch the Ohio State game. He covered Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot in that game. Marvin Harrison Jr. next year should be a top 5 pick, if not top 3. There's people already saying he could rank out as one of the highest wide receivers people have graded. It's not even been sort of frowned upon that he could be the first wide receiver to go number 1 overall since Calvin Johnson. Was it? Did he get number 1 overall when he got drafted all them years ago? So you getting to watch our draft pick cover a future NFL. To me, an elite wide receiver. He can come into this league and do what Jamar Chase did. So go and watch the Ohio State game. He gets beat at times. Cornerbacks get beat. It happens. And talking of that, the one thing I do want to say is I do hope our fans kind of just rein their hopes in on him a little bit. Not every cornerback can come in and have a Sauce Gardner type rookie year. Yeah, I know. It's me getting all posh. It's a black country posh. It's me, that is.
The black country posh. Love it.
Cornerback is one of the hardest positions, I think, to come into the NFL and play day 1. So, he's going to get beat at times. He's going to make mistakes. bear with him and let him feel it out, because there's no doubt with the right coaching, with Wink, with Jerome Henderson, they can 100% get the best out of him. Needs to add a little bit more discipline to his play style. He projects best as an outside. This is from Dane, Brugler's the beast. Pre-draft, if anyone doesn't subscribe to The Athletic, why not? I'm not sponsored by him or paid by it, but genuinely,
why not? And B, you should.
Yeah, genuinely.
A, why not? And B, you should.
This isn't sponsored or plugged or anything like that. I wish we did have sponsorship from them, but honestly, the Athletic's really good with Dan Duggan, and especially for the draft stuff. Dane Brugler's the beast, and he had him graded sort of in the first to second round and 27 on his overall draft board. So I think the other key thing on that note is we probably got the value with Banks. Most people had him in that kind of early 20s to mid 20s range. So we hit it on the head there.
Yeah, nice. If you don't subscribe to The Athletic, you should. It's $7.99 a month. You can get it for, I think it's £1 a month on an introductory deal. You're stupid if you don't, because the beast is, if you want to read up about every single prospect that's declared for that draft, if you want to know anything about them, that's the place to go. And it's, could you just imagine the amount of work he puts into that? First of all, it must be months and months worth of research and watching tape and everything going into that one document that he produces. It's something like hundreds and hundreds of pages long, but it's well worth a read, put it that way. We got our man at corner with 24, and I think we were all relatively happy come Friday morning once the dust has settled on the first round. Cool. Moving on to round 2, on to Friday. And again, really, the Giants got their man. It's fair to say that I don't think anyone suspected he would fall that far. And the fact that he did fall that far, we would be stupid to not snap him up. We addressed the air of need, with Lawrence Tynes announcing the pick. John Michael Schmidt, centre from Minnesota. Prior to the pick, there were rumours that Shane had tried to trade up again, but ultimately the only centre that went ahead of Schmitz was Joe Tippmann, but he went to the Jets. After losing Feliciano and Gates in free agency, we should really now have our starting centre, and it should be locked up for the foreseeable future, and it should allow Ben Bredesen to join that sort of projected battle for the left guard spot. There was a lot of talk prior to the draft about centre not being the sort of be all and end all. Do we now think that was a little bit of a smokescreen, or was this purely a sort of best player available pick?
I think it was both. In all honesty, I think it was just that moment where best player available met position of need absolutely perfectly down to a T, and it was just the way it transpired, and it was a no-brainer pick for them. I get slated for this probably. I wouldn't have taken John Michael Schmitz there, in all honesty. But there's a big caveat. There is a big caveat. I would have taken offensive lineman.
Of course you would.
No, I would have took an offensive lineman, but it would have been Osiris Torrance because I had a first round grade on him. I didn't have a first round grade on JMS. Now I really do like John Michael Schmitz. He was my centre one. I think he might have been my interior line 2, only behind Osiris Torrance. And in all honesty, if we'd have took Osiris Torrance, would you have been annoyed at it? I'd probably guess most people probably wouldn't have been annoyed at it. Yet it's not filling a position of need, but Osiris Torrance he's class, and I don't know why he was still on the board there. But going back to the John Michael Schmitz pick, I've got nothing against it, and I do like it, and I just like I said, I think it was need, availability, join the two together, and you get John Michael Schmitz.
Yeah, I think all the signs. It was funny. I'm pretty sure he was mocked to the Giants by at least every analyst at least once. I know most analysts do 6 or 7 mocks, but I'm pretty sure if you looked at every analyst and went through all their mock drafts, he was coming to us at least once in each one. It's one of those picks that it's so unsexy, it's hard to get excited over. But when you actually look at the history of the centre position for us, it needed to be addressed. And it was interesting when I was doing some research on this, and obviously I'll get to it in a minute in the terms of the things to know. But he's the third centre out of Minnesota that the Giants have ever drafted. I think there was one back in the YA Tittle days, and then there was another one sort of in the 80s as well. But it's just interesting that we seem to go back to Minnesota for centres all the time, and the previous two apparently were very, very good as well. So as long as he can keep the trend up, I think we're on to a winner here.
Yeah, I mean, there must be a thing about Minnesota centers playing well in New York, because I like the pick. I think it was a pick that was much needed. I think we definitely needed that. We needed that center. We needed that day one start at that center, and I think Schmitz was the overall. He was between. There was a toss up between him and Tippmann, wasn't it? And I think we got one of the best two. We got one of the top two in this draft, and he fell nicely to us at 57. So we can't really complain, can we? Craig, what do we need to know?
Yep, so we'll go through the physicals and collegiate info again. So physicals, 24 years old, so a bit older than most of our signees. 19th of March 1999 was his birth date. 6'4", 301 pounds. He's a big boy. 3-star prospect going into college. Originally committed to West Michigan in May 2016, before decommitting and then committing to Minnesota in January of 2019. He is one of these players who opted to use the extra year of eligibility due to COVID, so he could return in 2022 just to polish his game up a little bit. Combine 40-yard dash was a 5.35, which is fifth. Now, I can't remember who it was, but there was an offensive lineman a few years ago who said that if an offensive lineman ever has to run 40 yards in either direction, either something's gone very, very well or something's gone very, very badly. So I can't imagine we're going to see him doing any 40-yard dashes anytime soon. Vertical jump was 29.5 inches, which was fourth amongst centres. Broad jump was 8 for 8, which is fifth. 20-yard shuttle was 4.56 seconds, which was second, and he did 26 reps on the bench press, which was fifth highest amongst centres. 767 snaps across 12 games in 2022. He only allowed 2 sacks, 1 QB hit, and 5 hurries overall. Had a 92.4 run block grade, an 81 pass block grade, and a 92.3 overall grade for last season.
Wow, those are some good stats for a big man. 301? He's a big boy, but then you expect that for a centre. And he's nimble as well, 29.5 inch vertical jump. That's I mean, I couldn't do that. No chance. Was it for the 20-yard shuttle 4.5 seconds? Again, that's damn quick for a big guy. So yeah, fair enough. I think we got ourselves an unbelievable talent, and I think I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Shane, tell us some more about JMS.
Just before I get into that, if anyone does want to see Dan run 20 yards shuttle or, do any of the jumps or anything, comment, like it, also let us know and we'll sort it. We'll sort out a Dan combine.
Phil, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Let's do a big Blue UK Ireland combine. Come on, let's do it.
Definitely pencil that in for next year.
100%. I'm up for it. Let's do it. I might be dead after it. So I might not be able to present the pod for a good 4 weeks or so, but I'm up for it. Let's do it.
As long as we get 4 weeks' notice, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So getting back to John Michael Smith then. So everyone knows how I feel about offensive line, but if there's one thing I want my offensive linemen to have done previously at school or at college, it's have a wrestling background. I like offensive linemen that have got a wrestling background because it means they're physical, they're not afraid to get down and dirty, and in a nice possible way, that is John Michael Smith's. I think Alex tweeted, Alex Wilson, I think he said, describing one word, the JMS pick, and I replied back saying nasty, bring brackets in a good way. He's kind of, I think he can bring what we're going to miss with Nick Gates. Everyone remembers the Nick Gates, Aaron Donald scrap a couple of years ago, or scuffle or whatever. I think John Michael Smith could do something like that, but he comes across really genuine as well. I think he's one of those players that you get him on the field and he's a different player to what he might be sort of with the fans or in press conferences and that. But yeah, when it comes to his play, Saquon's going to love him, and another player we'll talk about at some point later on is probably going to really like him as well, because he's run blocking, he's really, really good, and that's where he's better at. He needs to improve at his pass protection, and no doubt he's going to get the opportunity to do that. You look at what our divisional rivals done. Washington's probably got one of the best front four in the league, I'd say. Dallas drafted Mazzie Smith, D tackle out of Michigan. Eagles did Eagles things. That's all I'm going to say. So, he's going to get tested without a doubt. And, I think he's going to be a massive benefit in the run game. And I hope to see his pass game progress. And then just to mention what Craig mentioned earlier on, it is an unsexy pick. But honestly, if you've not watched any John Michael Smith's footage, go back and you'll see what I mean about the aggressiveness, the way he'll just get up on someone and put them on the floor. And it's not like, they're on the floor, that's it. It's like, they're on the floor. Boom, I'm making sure you're on the floor properly. So whilst it's an unsexy pick, the game tape is actually quite interesting to see.
I don't care if it's an unsexy pick. It's a pick that we needed, and to be fair, like I said, I think it's a great pick. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the first two picks. Corner, offensive line, nailed it. All right, then round 3. So later on the Friday night, round 3, pick 73. And I think it's fair to say that we got an absolute steal with this pick. Jaden Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee. I mean, the fact that he was touted as a first round pick, first round talent alone. Why did he fall to us at 73? Why did he fall so far? We'll come on to that in a second, but just what an unbelievable pickup for what great value. We got aggressive again, but it was Coach Dable this time that initiated the deal with the LA Rams to send the 89th and 128th pick to them in exchange for the 73rd to get Jalen Hyatt, like I said, out of Tennessee. He met with the Giants pre-draft, worked out with them, and was on everyone's radar in the draft room as well. And it just needed that little bit of persuasion from Dave to pull the trigger. And, what a trigger he's pulled, because this guy's lightning fast and is an exception of talent coming out of Tennessee, and is someone I'm really excited and really looking forward to see him play in blue in the Giants. And I saw the video of him being picked, like his family home, and one of the questions he was asked was, "What's your message to all the other 31 teams that passed up on you?" And he said, "I've got to play him. He'll come out on the field. So he's already got a chip on his shoulder that he's fallen out of the first round into round 3, and let's just hope he can excel and succeed and show everyone what they missed out on, because I love the pick, absolutely love the pick." What do you guys think? Why did he end up falling so far? And do you think the value of the player outweighed the cost?
Yeah, so I'm going to get some stick for this. People aren't going to like what I'm about to say. If you don't like what I've got to say about lying, you're not going to like what I've got to say about this. So for me, Hyatt, the value was where it was. I didn't consider this a steal at all. I'm not a Hyatt guy. Like, I'll put it out there. I'm not a massive Jalen Hyatt guy for the player, for his tape, etc. I'd seen people saying first round. That would have pissed me right off. Like, the JMS one, I'd have rolled my eyes, but I'd have been like, okay, I get it. Jalen Hyatt was never a first round, and I really don't mean this disrespectfully to him at all. I think he was kind of like a late second, early third kind of guy. He was 100% a day two guy without doubt. I know Kev had him in his top five, and people have things ranked differently. I think he's fallen because, in part because of the player, and in part because of his college and that he come from. You know, he wasn't really asked to run routes much at Tennessee. It was kind of like, just running a straight line or just run and then curl, etc. But that's not his fault either. That's due to the offense that Tennessee runs. They run a very dumbed down, basic offense, in all honesty, is the best way I can put it. But I like him as a person, and I really hope he does well. I mean, I tweeted out earlier on about the video that you mentioned, Dan, of him in his family home, and he comes across as a really genuine guy. One of my top guys was Jordan Addison. He gets drafted. He's on the stage with that bird. I don't know what her name is, and she interviews him. And one of the first things he says is, "Let's get paid." And straight away, I was like, I'm so glad we've not drafted you, because I don't want to hear a player talking about getting paid. I get it's a business and it's a job and you want money. But all the things you could say, and one of it is like, let's get paid. I'm sure that's what he says. And if I'm wrong, I'll take it back and I do apologise. So I've not watched the draft back. But, whereas Jalen Hyatt doesn't come across that kind of person that, he said, they've got to play me. That's it. That's all you need to say. You don't need to give it the big and like some prima donnas have in the past, etc. But he does. He needs to develop. He needs refining 100%. But he can be a threat and he can be a target for DJ. And then the only other thing I'll say on him is, you guys probably got slightly different opinions to me. But obviously, there's that video doing the rounds of welcome to the NFL rookie, I think it is, and he's on his pro day with the Dallas coach, and the Dallas says, "Oh, you know what you am," etc. And in all honesty, I kind of liked what he told him, because I didn't see like the Dallas guy was trying to be a dick. I didn't see he was trying to say, "Oh, you're rubbish." I think he said it trying maybe motivate him and if you're a red runner, let's see. I think you're a speedster, and it creates that mentality of, okay, you think I'm a speedster? Watch this, and that's the kind of mentality you want from a player. But yeah, going back to the pick itself, I thought the value was about where it was and where he went, for me personally, on my gradings.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys know much more. You and Kev know much more than me and Dan know, and we don't even. I don't think, and Dan will agree, we don't pretend to know a lot about this. We pick up names from your top fives, and that's about as far as it comes. But I mean, from a highlights point of view, and that's where sort of my knowledge is. From a highlights point of view, it's nice to see somebody who potentially would take the top of a defense, other than someone like Slayton, and looking at some of his, physical traits, which I'll come on to in a minute. He doesn't look like he's got too much of a drop issue, which is obviously something we have seen with Slayton, though he has got better with it. So I am excited to see what he can do. I think it's a different dimension to a player that we've got. The only downside, I think, is the fact that if you look at a lot of the other wide receivers that we were looking at, like Addison, like your favourite out of TCU, who obviously didn't fall to us, they're big body receivers, and that's not what Hyatt is. He's not a big body receiver. I mean, he has put on, I think it's a reported 14 pounds since the combine, so he has bulked up a little bit, ready for the NFL, but there's only so much weight you can put on. You can't, you can't grow, can you? You can't put yourself in the old manure patch and come out a couple of inches taller. That's one thing he's never going to be able to do. So, it's just not going to happen. So, it'll be interesting to see how he translates. But I'm looking forward to having someone with a bit of speed. I mean, he ran. I'm spoiling my next point a little bit. In fact, I'll just go straight into
I will just add. I will just add though quickly. You say that only 14 pounds. It's a stone in weight though. He's put on.
Yeah.
You say it like that. It's like it's a stone in weight that he's put on.
And it's not going to
It's not an easy task.
I was going to say it's not going to be beer or takeaway stone either. Is it? It's going to be like legitimate weight.
It's not going to be. Yeah. It's not going to be the Tuesday night at the Albion weight. No.
No. It's pure bulking, isn't it? It's pure bulking.
Let's get into the physicals. I mean, he's 24 years old, 6 foot. He's 190 pounds now. So, I mean, he was slight before. If you think he has popped that sort of 14 pounds. I just want to put up a comment actually quickly from Jamie here, but Will Fuller's comp. I've seen that a lot. That a lot of comps saying that he's very similar to Will Fuller now. As long as he stays away from the PEDs, I think we'll be okay with that comp being accurate. So collegiate wise, 4-star recruit coming out of college, originally committed to Virginia Tech in Feb 2019, decommitted and committed to Tennessee in July 2019. Combine, we say he was quick. I mean, he ran a 4.4, which was 6th amongst wide receivers. So, you know, it was a pretty quick class. Obviously, a large majority of those did go for those early picks in round 1. Vert jump, 40 inches, which was 4th, which isn't too bad. Broad jump, 11'3", which was the highest graded. He opted out of all the other drills. Looking at his 2022 season, 12 games, 67 receptions on 89 targets for 1,267 yards and 15 touchdowns. He had 5 drops, which was against Bama, though. Oh, 5 of them were against Bama. I'm gonna steal one of Shane's lines, but if you want to watch some tape on Jalen Hyatt, check out the Alabama game. He forced 8 missed tackles last year, had 15 deep catches for 677 yards, 17 screen catches for 116, 56 slot catches for 955, and recorded 8 contested catches. Now, a lot of these stats Shane actually gave to me, and but I found this while having a look through, and this is ridiculous. He led the nation in 40-plus yard receptions. He had 11 of them. He led the nation in 50-plus yard catches. He had 7 of them. And he led the nation in 60-plus yard catches. He had 5 of them. And his 11 40-plus yard catches were better than 8 SEC teams' entire total for the season.
I mean, that's an impressive stat. Very impressive. Maybe we need to work on the deep ball a little bit more. I mean, what more can you say about him? That's a crazy stat. Led the whole nation. The whole, was number 1 in college overall in 40-plus yard receptions, 50-plus yard and 60-plus yard receptions. Pretty good stat, really. There, Shane. Give us some details about what type of player we're getting in Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, so as Craig says, he's getting his speeds. And Craig said he ran a 4.4 at the combine, but I have seen things indicating he maybe had like a little bit of an ailment or illness or something, which is probably why you watch the game tape and you're thinking, you probably watch the tape and you'd think, I don't know if Craig thought it when he watched the Bama thing, this guy runs in the 4.2s. Like he looked quicker than a 4.4. So, yeah, he was a 1-year starter in Tennessee, predominantly played in the slot for them, but I don't envision him playing the slot role for us. It might be a case of, touch wood, God only knows, but if we get another 20 injuries to the wide receiver position this year, he might be asked to play in the slot, but I don't think that's going to be what he's predominantly been brought in for. Now, the one thing I do kind of like about Jalen Hyatt, and this is the thing that kind of it's a bad word to use this, gets me excited, is how we're going to deploy him and how that's going to have an impact on the rest of the team. Because for me, I think if you send so Jalen Hyatt at college just ran like verts. If he just runs a vert, it's going to open up so much. You're going to have one Dale in the slot. You got nice new tight end called Darren Waller, who I don't know if people have seen, but he's a little bit productive through the middle. It opens up the running lanes for Barkley, and let's not forget, Daniel Jones knows how to run. So I think if you've got, say, Slayton out on the left, Hyatt out on the right, send them both downfield, or even if you send them on like an in route or a go rate or something like that, I think it's going to open up the middle of the field, which can benefit a lot more. So, teams are going to have to be a lot more respectful to the Giants wide receivers than what they probably have been in the last few years, in all fairness. We have got legit speed, and that seems to be the theme for what the Giants want to do, both on offense and defense. You go back to Deontay Banks, I think he ran a 4.36. You look at our free agent signings this year, Paris Campbell, we brought Slayton back, both of them running the 4.3s. I don't know what one Dale ran, but like say Hyatt as well, probably on a good day, fully fit, runs in the 4.3s as well. So yeah, I'm kind of excited at how we deploy him and what impact that can have on the other players. But like everything I've said about Jalen Hyatt, please don't take this as like I'm already hating on the kid or I want him to fail, because you never want these kids to fail. Even the ones that kind of get drafted to other teams, you still want to see him do really well. So yeah, I'm excited for what he can bring, and I think the value was absolutely spot on. And I love the fact as well, just before we move on, after night one, I sent a video clip to you guys. I think I might put it on Twitter as well. And someone said to Joe Shane, with you trading or, you probably used your picks now and you're not going to be able to move up again. And he literally just went, nah, I'll go up. But I literally just said, yeah, nah, if I want it, I'm going to go for it kind of thing. And we've seen that with his pick.
See man, get man. I mean, and he did, didn't he? Incidentally, Wando Robinson ran a 4.3840. So again, 4.3. So we got some quick receivers. Producer Craig just told me that he's put a comment onto YouTube. So those that are watching live, let us know your overall draft grade and your favorite pick, and we'll shout them out at the end for you. So let us know who your favorite pick is and your overall draft grade, and we'll read them out at the end. All right. So after day 2 was in the books, a lot of people pointed towards just how good things have gone for the Giants at this point. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you'd have spoke, I don't know what we did in our mock draft when we did one, but I think if you'd have spoke to most Giant fans and said, what's your 3 biggest needs going into the draft? Wide receiver, centre, cornerback, in any order, 100%. Like I think we were all in agreement between us and Kev as well that we probably wanted a cornerback in round 1, which is what we got. Like I said, the value matched up with the centre, and then wide receiver was probably the next one. So, I think we first 3 picks, and we fill probably for me the 3 biggest needs.
If you want to know what we did in our mock draft last week, I'm just having a look here. We went cornerback, wide receiver, safety.
Interesting though, we picked Keely Ringo, didn't we?
Yes.
Didn't he go in round 4? Maybe it was a bit of a reach for him. 25. Little bit of a reach, yeah.
Me at the time saying take Emmanuel Forbes, and what can I say?
I memean, we're fired as head coach and GM, aren't we, Craig? Let's face it. But I mean, we put out our own.
It's bad.
No. If you want to go back and look at our mock draft, watch last week's episode. We're not going to go too much into it, but we did each put our own little mock drafts out last week, and I mean we put out a little poll on Twitter, didn't we? And whose came in as the favourite? Right here, 38% of the vote. Get in, and who came out with the right order in first, second, and third rounds? Right here. This guy right here that knows fuck all about college football, and I get the order right.
Well, why couldn't we have that done last week when we did our mock draft? Where was that done then?
I mean, That's a good question. I mean, spoiler alert, it was a few weeks ago. But no, I mean, our mocks. I mean, the amount of mock drafts that we've done over the sort of last 4, 6, 8 weeks since the season ended. I mean, it was bound to. Yeah, some of us are going to get something close. Some of us are going to get some things that were way off. And I think the one we did all together, yeah, it was a little bit way off, wasn't it? But there we go. Craig, what do you think about first 2 days then?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think Steve's comment's better there, but no, I really liked it. We
Oh yeah.
We all said that cornerback, wide receiver, and centre were the 3 biggest needs, and it just makes sense that we went that way. We waxed lyrical about JMS and how it would be great to get him. I know Kev was keen on a couple of later guys just in case we did have to go down that route, but I'm quite happy we picked him up. Banks was, I don't think any of us really expected Banks to fall that far. It's weird. I don't think any of us really spoke about him a lot at all, other than the top 5 breakdowns. So that was a welcome surprise. And Hyatt, I mean, we saw Hyatt get mocked to us by different analysts in round 1. So to pick him up in round 3, when I know the difference between an analyst and an NFL scout is quite broad, as can be seen by multiple picks that were made across the 3 days and some of the grades that the analysts gave. But yeah, I think overall we were given something like an A or an A- by a lot of analysts for those first 2 days, and I can't see any reason why we shouldn't be at least having an A letter grade.
Yeah, man. I mean, we hit the ball out of the park with all 3 picks, in my opinion. We addressed the 3 biggest positions in need with 3 quality players. And nobody expected to get Jalen Hyatt in round 3. So onto a winner in my books. And absolutely, Steve, everybody loves a bragger, especially when you're this guy that's got no clue about college football. Every right to brag. So evening, mate, how you doing? Cool. All right, then moving on, day 3, the latter round picks coming up. Almost 100 picks went by, 99 picks went by, in fact, from the time we picked Jalen Hyatt to the time we select our next player. When we've picked 172 in round 5, we got Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. It was a bit of a longer wait, like we said, because we got rid of our 4th round picks. But we were back on the clock. Eric Gray was picked up. He's 2-year college starter with Oklahoma. He's an all-purpose back who won't only be able to help lighten the load on Barkley and be able to mix up in the receiving game, but also could be a contributor, however you want to say that word, in the return game as well. So, Eric Gray is it's quite a nice little pickup there in round 5, I thought. What did you guys make of Eric Gray?
Yeah, I was fine with it. I mean, I think if you looked at it, if we want to talk about what the first 3 picks were going to be, as we just have, if someone had said to you, "Will the New York Giants draft a running back?" I think we'd have all said, "Yeah." When it had been, different question, but we fully expected to. And no, this doesn't mean Saquon Barkley being traded, or we're going to rescind the tag, or we're going to let him walk after a year. It's just a little bit of depth. And it's good depth as well. Eric Gray, someone who was on my radar. I mean, I think I had Eric Gray. I had RB5 as Dwayne McBride, but like I said on this podcast, I'd say RB4 to RB12 could be interchanged in absolutely any order. And for me, Eric Gray was probably in that middle. He was probably about RB7, RB8 kind of range. But he could have been 12. He could have been 4. That's how close they all were. And I think we kind of benefited in getting him as late as we did because of how good the running back class was as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But as Barkley gets older, and let's be honest, we've used Barkley as one hell of a workhorse across the last few seasons when he's not been injured. I think as any running back gets older, you need to give them help and you need to use them in rotation sets. And having Breeder there last year and our mate Gary obviously helped when there were a few little dings. And obviously Dan's sadness there is that with this pickup, there is the risk that Gary Brightwell could potentially be out on his way out of the Giants when it comes to cut day. But, we'll wait and see. However, I like the pickup of Gray. I've watched a little bit on him. He seems he hasn't got speed, but he's quick. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, he doesn't look like
Nimble.
he doesn't look like he's gonna burst and just tear like Saquon did in his rookie year, where he would just tear through defenses and they wouldn't catch up with him. He just looks like he's shifty, and the fact that for receiving, I've got the stats somewhere there: 34 receptions on 40 targets for 238 yards last year. The fact that he's got that extra sort of wrinkle to him in the receiving game is obviously something that we need. And Breeder's not getting any younger, so it's potentially a good little backup pickup for the next few seasons.
Yeah, man. I think it sucks about Mike Gary. I think when the pick came in, I think one of was it Kev or you, Shane, that said it. Bye bye our mate Gary. It's like, no. But he looks like a decent back, and I think he's going to be, fighting with Matt Breeder for that number 2 spot. And it looks like our mate Gary's going to be looking in from the outside. But you never know. He might stay around and play a part in special teams. But there we go. All right, Craig, what do we need to know about Eric Gray?
So 23 years old, so plenty of time left for him. 5'9", 207 pounds, so small built. It's going to be good to run between the tackles. He was a 4-star recruit coming to college, committed to Michigan in July 2018 before decommitting in December, and then committed to Tennessee later in December 2018. Then entered the transfer portal in 2021 and then transferred to Oklahoma. So he got about a bit. Didn't attend the combine, and I wasn't able to find any details on his pro day in the short amount of time that I just spent having a look. So,
can I jump in there, Craig? Because I have got him.
Yeah, of course. If you've got them.
Yeah. So he ran a 4.62 40, put up 12 on the bench press. 3 cone was 7.1 seconds, and his shuttle was 4.10.
There we go. So yeah, like I said, if you look at the tape, he looks quick, but he ran a, what did you say, a 4.5?
4.62.
4.62. So it's not slow by any means. And as Dan said earlier, it's probably quicker than any of us are gonna throw on the 40. But
we're talking about pedestrian pace, that is.
So 2022 season, 12 games, 212 carries for 1,374 yards, 12 touchdowns, had 727 yards. So, over half of his yards were after contact, and had 21 carries of 15 plus yards. He forced 58 missed tackles and had a PFF rushing grade of 92.4 for the last season.
Pretty damn good then. Pretty damn good. And in fact, he's coming from Oklahoma. Pretty decent school as well. I think we're on to a winner with Eric Gray. I think he could be a nice little pickup, a nice little sneaky pickup in round 5. All right, Shane. What does the beast make of Eric Gray? What do you make of Eric Gray?
Yeah, so just before we go on to Eric Gray, like Craig says, he probably runs faster than any of us. Just a reminder, if you do want to see Dan take part in the NFL Combo, let us know. We might do a poll or something. I'm going to push this hard now. We'll get something sorted.
Come on, let's do it.
The rookie mini camp we've got something, so I'm sure we can arrange something for the sunny nights, etc. But yeah, going on to Eric Gray. So interesting stat. I don't know if you said this. Sorry, Craig, if I'm repeating something you said, but he had 44 carries of 10 plus yards last season, which was first among Big 12 running backs. So he's it's funny because you look at his combine or his pro day even, and if you put them stats in front of me, he says, "Oh yeah, we're going to draft a running back who did 12 on the bench press and ran a 4.62." Nah, I am out. See you later. I'll find me a better running back than that. I need something better than that. But like Craig says, when you watch the tape, he looks like a different person. I don't know if he's got a twin brother or something. He just couldn't be bothered to turn up to his pro day. But like, he looks so much better on tape than what he actually how he actually plays. But yeah, in regards to what the Beast has put about it, like Craig says, he had, we just call it an interesting college career due to moving, transferring, portals, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, he's the sort of player who he's not going to bulldoze over players. He's not going to sort of Marshawn Lynch it, taking 8 players on his back like he did against that Saints game, for instance. But I do think he can be an absolute great compliment to Saquon. And when we maybe want to give Saquon a rest, I'm pretty confident that we've got a running back in that can keep the chains moving, so to speak. I know the Beast compared him to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a first rounder, who plays like a 5th rounder. So make of that what you will. And he had him graded in the 3rd or 4th round.
Interestingly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's 5th-year option wasn't picked up, was it?
Let's know. That could be a whole other podcast. Let's not go there.
But
we got.
Say again.
The main thing is we got our guy's 5th-year option. That's all that matters.
There you go. But I think I'm happy with that pickup. I really am. I think we've got good value, and I think we've got a good player. And let's hope he can develop into a potentially a long-term solution. All right, round 6, pick 209. Trey Hawkins, the 3rd. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Defensive backer of Old Dominion. Old Dominion, what a name for a college that is. Can't say I've ever heard of it, but there we go. Selected Trey Hawkins, like I said, cornerback, sort of that double dip at corner position of need, and why not get a bit of depth there as well? It was one of the Giants' top 30 visits back in April, and he also met with the Raiders, Browns, and Colts as well. And potentially in future pairing up with Deontay Banks as well in future. Who knows? What do you guys make of Trey Hawkins? Anyone's called Trey is cool, right? Trey.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part of the draft where I was like, okay, I don't know who this guy is. I need to watch the tape on this one. But I'll have watched the tape, and he's got real good upside. He's got potential. He's probably not going to come in and start instantly. I hope he does make the 53. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying about kind of like how maybe if he doesn't work out at corner, he could transition to safety because of his size. And he makes some great hits if anyone's not seen any highlights on him, etc. But I like the potential. Again, a little bit like Tay, as he likes to be called, apparently. A little bit like him. I think he's in a good system where Wink and Jerome Henderson are going to get the best out of him. He might be a little bit of a project. Doesn't play much kind of in his first year. But, he's got all the traits, all the size, etc., that you want in a cornerback. And I think, did he score? Is he one of these ones that scored like a 9 on the relative athletic score? I think it was.
I think you've just read my mind there, because I was just looking down to get his relative athletic score down.
I'm pretty sure he scored in the 9s.
Yeah, so a 9.82. He scored as elite in everything apart from his weight and his shuttle time. Everything else was in the high 8s or 9s. So just quickly, for those who don't know what the RAS is, it's the brainchild of a guy, I can't remember his name, Kent something. Basically, he came up with an idea when he was watching analytics when people were saying, oh, this player is explosive versus this player, or this player is, is a mauler compared to this player. And when you actually look at the tape, they weren't. So what he did is he went back until the 80s and looked at weight, height, vertical, broad, 40-yard dash with the 20 and 10-yard splits and the shuttle and 3-cone, and basically averaged it all out. So yeah, there's it's very in depth, and it doesn't really equate to anything specific. It's not set in stone, but it does give you an idea of how athletic someone potentially could be. So
yeah, so I thought he did have a high RAS scoring. For anyone who's interested, if you have a look on Twitter or you Google it, it is interesting. They do compare, like rank them, like sort of they'll be like, oh yeah, they're ranked 5th cornerback out of 2,800 done, etc. like that.
Hold on, boys. Hold on.
What's up?
Dan, I'll let you do it.
Wait, what? Breaking news. Alrighty. According to Mike Garafolo, the Giants and defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence have agreed to terms on a 4-year extension that makes him one of the highest paid defensive linemen in the NFL. What do you make of that, guys? Sexy Dexy signed up.
Disappointed it's only 4 years. Yeah, I'm just having a look at it now. Apparently, it's a 4-year deal, 90 million, 60 million guaranteed, and it's going to make him the 3rd highest paid DT in the NFL. No surprise, what we expected. More than happy that he's sort of locked down for the next 4 years, and kind of hopefully that's going to be extended as well in the future.
Yeah,
and it means,
mate, Sexy Dexy got paid.
It means I can finally lock that jersey in.
It's one of those big risks as a Giants fan, isn't it? Picking up a jersey and not knowing for sure. I mean, I'm sitting here in my 99 Big Cat jersey with him running into his final year of his deal, and we'll see. But yeah, Sexy Dexy. I mean, he was the defensive MVP last year. Stepped up to the plate, has just got better and better every year. Let's just hope that trajectory continues to go. I did wonder why you boys were making funny faces at me while I was trying to explain the relative athletic score. I just thought Dan got really excited, but
I mean, I did, but for other reasons. But the relative athletic score, the RAS, that's what you're going about, because I don't have a clue what that was about, to be fair. So you've enlightened me. You've taught me something tonight. So thanks for
that. So the facial expressions were part that and part Sexy Dexy signs, yeah.
I mean, yes, yeah, more so Sexy Dexy, but yeah, I'm happy knowing what the RAS means now. When I saw it earlier in the group chat, I thought, what the bloody hell is the RAS? I'm thinking, is that some like, I don't know. I genuinely didn't know what it was. I was like, I'm just going to go along with it and go, yeah, no idea. All right, moving back to Trey Hawkins. All right, so where are we? Shane? Were you talking about? Or did you finish?
I think we were moving on to physicals. I think Shane had said about the RAS and that he has scored high. So, yeah, physicals. 22 years old, 6'1", 188 pounds. Started his college career at Trinity Valley Community College in 2018, which means he doesn't have a star recruitment number. But he transferred to Old Dominion for the 2020 season, which was then cancelled due to COVID. So he got to sit there for a year and then get 2 years under his belt. Didn't appear at the combine, no surprise. However, his pro day stats were 4.4 in the 40, 37.5 in the vert, 10'9" in the broad jump, 6.74 seconds in the 3-cone, and he hit 17 reps on the bench press. 840 snaps across 12 games last year, allowed 33 receptions on 54 targets for 448 yards and 4 touchdowns. Had 53 tackles, 43 of them solo, 2 forced fumbles, 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, a quarterback hit, and a hurry, and recorded a 73.5% coverage grade, a 90.1 run defense grade, and a 78.3 overall grade according to PFF.
So improving the run defense then. Nice. I mean, he didn't have the best start to his college career, did he? At community college, and then moves to Old Dominion, and the season was cancelled due to COVID. So he didn't have the best start to his career in college, but hopefully we've got a nice little player there around 6. Shane, what do the Beast think? The Beast.
Yeah, so he had him down as a priority free agent. Now, if you looked at it, he was one of our top 30 visits. But there's also another team that had him in as a top 30 visit. I think there was a couple, but definitely it was the Indianapolis Colts. And I think I want to say maybe the Colts were due to pick pretty soon in that. And I think the Giants sort of drafted him because, they'd looked, Colts had him on a top 30 visit. Why take that risk? So, it's one of them where you might have got him as a free agent, but maybe for me, kind of round 6, round 7 is where you draft players because you want to make sure you've got them. Because obviously we've undrafted free agents, it's kind of anyone's game, whoever offers the best money, etc. Whereas if you draft them, it's a little bit harsh on the player because they ain't got a say on it. It's kind of like tough luck. You come into New York or New Jersey. So maybe, that's what the Giants did there. But, I do like his size. And, the Beast sort of says it similarly. Hawkins needs to get clingy and to improve his play record. He passes the eye test with flying colours, and he's got the athletic profile NFL teams will want to develop, which is exactly what we've kind of mentioned already with the RAS score and his size, etc. And full confidence in Wink and Jerome Henderson, who I really, really rate as a DB coach, will be able to bring him up.
Yeah, nice. Instantly, Indy had pick 211, which was 2 later. So, I think they had to snap him up when they could. Because, like you said, if they were after him, they were looking at him, we'd take the man and we do what we need to do. Alrighty then, on to round 7. And we're really sort of getting into the obscure picks once we get into round 7. We had 2-4-3 and 2-5-4, wasn't it? With pick 2-4-3 in round 7, we picked up Jordan Riley, defensive tackle out of Oregon, in the first of our 2 selections in the 7th round. I said we, despite improving the depth chart of this position, defensive tackle, within the signings of Nacho and Ashawn Robinson, Shane's obviously thinking about the future, with both Robinson and Leonard Williams only contracted until the end of this year. Obviously, now with Sexy Dexy having a 4-year deal in place, we're still potentially thinking in the future because Big Cat's due a lot of money next year. So maybe looking to the future, maybe looking for a bit of depth online as well. But I don't know anything about the guy. I've not really seen anything about the guy, so I wouldn't really have a clue whether he's he must be good enough because he got drafted. But yeah, he's a round 7 pick. He's, there's not too much. I'm not holding out high hopes for him, but it'd be nice to see him produce and do well. But what did you guys make of Jordan Riley? If any of you know anything about him?
Again, this is another one where I didn't really know. I can't remember where I was. I think I was out. I had a lot on the Saturday, and I'd seen it, and I was like, "Who's that?" Like, I presumed he played with
you and me both.
Yeah, but I was like, he must have played with Thibodeau at Oregon, so it must be maybe like a conversation they've had. But I think this year was his first year at Oregon, if I'm right. So Thibodeau would have been like, who? So, me, Dan, and Thibodeau got something in common. Who would have guessed? But yeah, I mean, I personally think I brought him in, not so much as the guys you've mentioned, but obviously we've got DJ Davidson, who we took last year in the 7th round, who's a big nose tackle. did his ACL at I nearly was said Wembley, at the Tottenham game, if I remember right, against Green Bay. I think he did his ACL.
He did, yeah.
Can't remember if he was on a special teams play or not. So I kind of wondered if they brought this guy in case, maybe Davidson's not recovering the way they wanted, or maybe he just doesn't recover and get back to what they wanted him to come back to. So I've kind of just seen it as a little bit of depth for the main team, but also the fact that the backup player, the depth player they drafted last year might not be back the way that the whole thing will be.
Yeah, I mean, if Shane doesn't know who he is, I've got no hope here. So I'll
Me neither.
we can move on to the physicals. So he's 24. He'll actually be 25 in a couple of weeks' time. So the oldest of our draft prospects this year. 6'5", 338 pounds. So he's a big boy. He was a 3-star recruit and began his collegiate career at North Carolina before moving on to Garden City Community College in 2019. He then went to Nebraska in 2020, sat for a year, had the 2021 season, and then, as Shane said, moved to Oregon in 2022. Another one not invited to the combine, but his pro day stats were 40-yard dash, 5.28 seconds, vert jump 25 inches, broad jump 8'6". He's a defensive tackle. He's a big bloke. I'm not expecting him to have outstanding numbers in any of those categories. But he had 332 snaps across 13 games last season, 13 tackles, 3 solo, 5 pressures, 1 sack, 1 QB hit, 3 hurries, had a pass batted down. Recorded a 58 pass rush grade, 55.4 run defense grade, and a 56.8 grade on the season. So, nothing really that jumps off the page there. I'm sure they've seen something, or they think there's something coachable there, but not really an exciting one.
No. And for those wondering where Garden City Community College is, it's in Garden City in Kansas. Who knew? There we go. Just a random bit of information there for you, just in case you wondered. Why'd you move from North Carolina, which is quite a reputable college, to a community college? Don't understand that. Why'd you do that? Maybe football wasn't his thing, and then he rediscovered the love of it. So, Shane, what does the beast say?
Nothing. not applicable. He was on his best of the rest. That's it. Done.
Nice. Done. All right then.
Also, then got Craig and the beast that literally who?
I mean, if Dane Brugler doesn't know anything about him, then we're screwed. All right, we are screwed royally. Cool. All right. In that case, we'll move on to pick 254. Javarius Owens, safety out of Houston. The last pick in the draft, cornerback converted to safety, was a high performer, team leader, and captain at Houston. He's going to join the rotation. It includes McKinney, Bobby McCain, and others, but should be able to contribute on special teams. What do we know about Javarius Owens?
Do you want me or do you want Craig to give us the?
I mean, Craig can go with the stats. It's fine. I'm guessing you know nothing about him too, Shane.
I was actually on my big board that I sent you guys end of March, I think it was. So he's a player that I knew of and I'd looked into.
Cool. All right, we'll look at the stats first, and then we'll come back to what you think of him, Shane.
So, 23 years old, 6 foot, 195 pounds, was a 3-star recruit. Began his collegiate career at Northeast Oklahoma A&M in 2018 before moving to Houston in 2019. Pro day stats were 40-yard dash 4.52, vert was 37.5, broad jump was 10'5", and he did 15 reps on the bench. 720 snaps across 13 games in 2022, allowed 17 receptions on 24 targets for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. Recorded 60 tackles, 49 of them solo, had 2 forced fumbles, 6 pass breakups, and an interception. Recorded an 87.1 coverage grade, a 70.7 run defense grade, and an 82.9 grade on the season.
Not bad then.
So, no, not bad numbers across the board.
Better in coverage than against the run, but not bad. Not bad. Shane, elaborate. Javarius Owens.
Yeah, so I think the biggest knock on him is kind of the angles he takes up and his tackling. He kind of needs to improve. Not his tackling, sorry, his angles and his pursuing, I should say. That's kind of the biggest knock on him. I think he is what he's kind of been drafted for us, and that's kind of a depth piece. See where he can kind of make it stick, essentially, and see where he can get onto the 53. He's got some competition when you look. Obviously, he's not going to replace X-Man. He's not going to replace Pinnock. And then also we've got Belton from last year and the guy we picked up, whose name escapes me, the former Washington player. Can't remember his name. But yeah, in regards to what the B stand him as a sort of 5th or 6th round grade, says that he lacks consistency in several areas, ball skills, tackling, route recognition. But he anticipates with the aggressive athleticism pro coaches will appreciate. And, not just coaches, fans alike, all of us included, love some aggressiveness. It's what you want to see, especially from your defense. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he can kind of stick. He could maybe be one of them players that surprises us a little bit, in all honesty, and, maybe could challenge Belton more than we think, potentially. McKay, thank you, Jamie.
Was the guy you're thinking of Trenton Thompson?
No, McCain. Bobby McCain?
Oh, of course, yeah, he was. Yeah, Bobby McCain. That's the one. Cool, yeah. I think, again, just a nice little depth piece and potentially someone that he's going to add that sort of extra competition in camp and could end up in the rotation. So I know nothing about him. The only thing I know about him is we share a birthday. So Javarius Owens, you're my boy, yeah? 14th of October. What? He's much younger than I am. That's not what I'm going to say, but yeah, birthday buddies. Ooh, birthday friends. Cool. So 4 players drafted on day 3 with depth being found potentially in the sort of running back and defensive backfield. Which out of the day 3 picks are you most excited about?
So I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to very, very quickly take over as the host, because I think as Dan had the best prediction of us all last week and obviously knows more about us on the college aspect, I'm going to let Dan go first to which one, to begin your fair, Dan. So, you tell us.
Which one of the day 3? Then my favourite day 3 pick. It's a good question. I like the Eric Gray pickup. I'm not going to lie. I think he can add he can add another dimension to the running game, and I think he can really challenge Matt Breida for that number 2 spot. Matt Breida's not getting any younger. He produced last year, but he's got some much needed competition, and I think someone that's young, that's hungry, that's agile, and can play. So I'm looking forward to seeing Eric Gray. There you go. What about you two? It's the easy option because it's the highest pick, right? So, but I'm looking forward to it. I know nothing about the others. I'm not going to claim that I do. So Eric Gray, I'm looking forward to watching him play.
I'll go with Trey Hawkins. I think as Shane was saying, with the relative athletic score there. He graded so highly that the athleticism was there. I believe that our coaching staff is good enough that they might be able to just mould him into something. And even if he's a depth piece at cornerback, we have a revolving door of depth pieces at cornerback and never seem to have many of the same players, mainly because they're all on bloody injured reserve, like Aaron Robinson seems to live on there. Or you get Handsy Darnay, big play Darnay, who
Play Dane.
who loves a penalty. So it'd be nice to actually have a competent backup, and if they can just find that sort of diamond in the rough type thing there, then happy days. So you've got the 2 7th rounders to pick from there, Shane.
Big play Darnay might become don't pay Darnay soon. I've noticed the trend is Dan goes for the first pick on day 3. Craig goes for the second pick on day 3.
I mean, feel free to. You don't have to go with one of the 7th rounders, Shane. I mean, I'll be surprised if you went with what's his name, the first pick in the 7th round we went with, because you know nothing about him either.
My actual pick would be Eric. But because Dan's already picked him, here on Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast, the home of the Giants podcast across the pond, we like to support the little guys. We had our mate, Gary, a couple of years ago. Now I'm going to go for my man Jordan, just because no one's heard of him. No one knows nothing about him. So I want Jordan to make the 53. So I'm going for my man Jordan.
Your man Jordan. Nice.
Like that. My man Jordan.
And then, poor Javarius Owens, my birthday friend's out on his own. Ooh. Oh, birthday friends.
Well,
I'll watch out for Javarius. Don't you worry.
Kev would have had him.
Yeah, he probably would have done, wouldn't he? Yeah, he would have done. That's Kev's pick. Nice. We did pick up a host of undrafted free agents. And there's plenty of other names that are coming in for mini camp tryouts as well. Michigan corner Gamon Green, Toledo linebacker Deontay Johnson, Ole Miss linebacker Troy Brown, Illinois quarterback Tommy DeVito. Any relation to Danny? Charlotte long snapper Cam Lyons. Don't you dare give our Casey Kreiter a run for his money. Not going to happen. Friend of the pod, Casey Kreiter. Not going to happen. Washington safety Alex Cook, and probably the two that have been talked about most, Pittsburgh D-end. I mean, D-end is an interesting pickup, but this name is brilliant. Habakkuk Baldonado. I mean, there's too many K's in that name. And secondly, Baldonado. What a great surname that is. Wasn't he? Isn't he Italian? He was born in Italy, wasn't he? Or brought up in Italy or somewhere? And only didn't do nothing about football.
From Rome, apparently.
Yeah. Habakkuk Baldonado, great name. And I think the one that sort of has ruffled a few feathers and people are quite excited about is Bryce Ford Wheaton, West Virginia wide receiver. He wasn't he like 6th or 7th round talent, like touted as talent to be drafted, and he's ended up falling into the undrafted free agent pool. There you go, Jamie, loved him. Evening, Jamie. How you doing, mate? But yeah, it wasn't Bryce Ford Wheaton a quite highly rated? I say highly rated, a higher rated player than his undrafted free agent status suggests.
Anyway. Yeah, I expected him to be drafted, and I was really pissed off at myself because obviously the other week we spoke about day 3 targets. Excuse me. And I had Bryce Ford Wheaton on my notes, and I called an audible at the last second and changed to Darius Davis. But yeah, Bryce Ford Wheaton's the one that probably stands out the most to me. Baldonado's interesting as well. But for Ford Wheaton, he was another elite athlete. I don't know what his RAS was, but he's 6'4", 221, ran a 4.38 40. joint hoist vert with 41 inches, and I had him on notes, mini DK. DK Metcalf, so he's an inch taller than DK, weighs 7 pounds extra, and ran 500ths of a second slower than what DK did, and their inch vert jump was half an inch difference as well. So when you look at his combine stats, he put up very similar to what DK did. The negative for me was that I thought that you watch him on tape and he's another Eric Gray, like the opposite way around though. He runs quick in underpants in a 40-yard straight line, but you put him in a match and you're like, this guy's a 4'6". So he really doesn't match it at all. And he only ever had one game this past season of more than 100 yards. He had 2 in the 90s, and then everything else was in the 50s or below.
So interestingly, you're looking at the RES, as you said. His RES score was 9.96. It was the highest out of all wide receivers. So the athleticism's there. I saw a video earlier as well of him blocking somebody downfield, and he pushes the guy back like 30 yards before just absolutely T-boning him into the floor. So he's not afraid to throw himself about a bit either. So that's an interesting one. I think that's the one that jumps off the screen. Shout out as well to the guys at Talking Giants, Justin Pennick, for picking up on Tommy DeVito, who wears a chain around his neck with TD on it. Like, you know full well that Tommy DeVito's a name that sounds New York, doesn't it? It just screams New York. Yeah, exactly. Got the Italian stallion side.
Mafia. Yeah,
man.
But no, I like to pick up.
So I was just going to say, just on Ford Wheaton, just to show kind of how interested we are, we've given him 236 grand guaranteed, which seems like a lot of money to most of us, but to an NFL player, it's not. A full season salary on the practice squad would be 216,000, so we're giving him more than that. We get him a 20k signing bonus, and he's another player that we had on our 30 pre-draft visits. That information's courtesy of Fireside Giants as well.
Thanks for that. I can't see him going anywhere. I think he'll be part of the potentially be part of the 53-man roster come cut days. Maybe practice squad, but if he can't make the squad on as a receiver, he'll definitely make it on special teams. He's got all the capabilities to play on special teams. I think he's quick. He can tackle. That's what you need in special teams, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I like that pickup. Alrighty, producer Craig, have we had any viewers draft this evening?
We have 2. So we'll put Jamie's up first. So he's given it an A.
Fantastic. Jamie, what's he gone with? Is that an A or an A minus?
It's an A.
Big guy. We didn't draft edge linebacker, but it was really strong overall. I mean,
I'm assuming
do we
it's
need
an
edge?
It's an A or an A minus. It's close enough. We've got a letter A in there.
Potato. Right.
Exactly.
And
then
I was a bit disappointed we didn't get any help at linebacker, but we've tied up Exton Udell and we've got a Carrickade, so I think we'll be right at linebacker.
And then Darren Cook was the other one.
Darren, agree with Jamie. A minus. There you go. Happy with DB. Could have done it with an edge rush linebacker. Good to see quarterback drafted for development after the Eli fiasco. I mean, Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito. Hey, Tommy DeVito. It's a Tommy gun. Nice. Thanks for that, lads. We love your interaction, and thanks for sending those grades in to us. Alrighty. Kev sent us a brief take on our class of 2023. We can't get the video up for technical reasons, but we are going to put the video up on our Twitter page. So check out Big Blue UK IRL on Twitter, and you can get Kev's initial thoughts on our draft class of this year. There you have it, our rookie class of 2023. Let us know what you think. Did Shane and Dave nail it? Are there any picks you don't like? Let us know. Get in touch in all the usual ways. But that is all we've got time for this week. However, we'll be back in our usual slot of Wednesday evening, 8:30 p.m, when the Irishman returns. Yes, Kev will be back to give us his full thoughts on our draft class of this year. Plus, it'll be the evening before schedule release day, so we'll all be getting excited about finalising which game we'll be heading to MetLife for this autumn. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
Just a quick one from me, just to thank everybody that interacted on Twitter with us over the 3 days of the NFL draft. We weren't live tweeting during it. Obviously, Craig was in front in Japan. Dan was on an early shift, so I think did Dan get up just before,
in bed?
Just
round one, it was just after.
Yeah. So, and then obviously me and Kev were up watching it, but we kind of just wanted to, like we said from day one with this podcast, with fans. That's all we are at the end of the day. We're not like paid to do it. We're not journalists. Don't pretend to be or anything. And me and Kev just like both decided we want to sit back, watch it, not get any spoilers, because obviously you tend to get the picks come through a few minutes earlier, which on Twitter, which kind of negates the reason to even watch it then. So kind of for me, all my notifications went on silent. I only started using Twitter after our pick was in. But you know, people were interacting brilliantly. Not during the draft, but leading up to it as well. We put a few polls out every day, and you know, so I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that sort of interacted with us and got involved in that. Just made it a little bit more fun and interesting as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch the draft on my phone on the bullet train between Tokyo and Kyoto. Spotty Wi-Fi dropping out. Luckily, it held true for our pick. So that was an interesting one. But no, massive thank you to you, Shane, and also for Kev for doing the graphics and everything while I was away. It was quite nice to kind of sit back and enjoy it for a bit. Just I actually quite liked getting up early. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning when the pick came in for me. So it was quite nice to be in the morning and not have to stay up and kind of like we did last year, where obviously we all got together and we were all on alcohol and coffee by 3 a.m. trying to stay up to watch the end of the draft. So,
yep.
So yeah, no, it was good. Everything we've done leading up to the draft, all the top fives, all the mock drafts, everything we've done on Twitter has all been good fun. Obviously, now we get into rookie mini camps and bits, so there's a bit of a lull. But don't worry, we've got lots of stuff planned, lots of stuff coming up. So keep watching. And yeah, the interaction tonight's been fantastic. If we can have that every week, hell, we'll start opening up live mailbags at the end. So.
Hell yeah, we will. Live mailbag. Let's get on that, because that'll be awesome. Yeah, I fully agree with what you just said about the interaction this evening. I'm going to read out the names: Andrew, Jamie, Giant Singh, Steve, and I'm sure there's one more, Darren. Thanks for getting involved, lads. We've loved the interaction you've given us tonight, and some of the comments have been laughable. Steve, still love a bragger, but no, it's been great. And apologies that I was working shifts over the draft, and so I didn't really get involved too much. But I was keeping a track of what was going on and keeping in contact with you guys. And it's just unfortunate that work's crazy at the moment, and I didn't really have the opportunity to get involved as much as I could have done. But yeah, props to you, Shane, and to Kev for getting us through and sorting us out. And you know, now that Craig's back, you know, service is resumed, and you can expect there to be plenty more things going up on our Twitter page. That's for sure. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Hit the little bell to get the latest updates and notifications. Follow us on Twitter if you don't already. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Just search for Big Blue UK and Ireland. We're all part of the New York Giants UK Facebook page as well. So give them guys a follow too, and get in touch with us via email if you wish to as well. bigblueukirl@gmail.com. And we're also part of the Full 10 Yards Network as well. Check us out. Check the site out at full10yards.co.uk/Giants, as it says at the bottom of the screen right there. And also follow the Full 10 Yards guys on Twitter at Full 10 Yards. Producer Craig writes some great pieces during the season, so check them out and give his pieces a read. My thanks as ever go to you, Shane, and to Craig for joining me, and to you, the listeners, for tuning in. We are signing off until next time.